Whether you think that you can or that you can't, you're usually right. Today I want to talk about the growth mindset. Welcome to Mindset and Methods. My name is Andrew, and if you like what I talk about, please do subscribe and hit that like button. So what is a growth mindset, and why is it important that we have one or should have one, as opposed to having a fixed mindset? Are there really two camps that you either fall in one or the other? Or can you change it? And so what is the definition of a growth mindset? A growth mindset emphasizes learning and development, while a fixed mindset assumes that your abilities are static. What does this mean on our behavior? A fixed mindset person will avoid challenges, while growth mindset fosters resilience and curiosity. There is research done on this. There's a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and her research shows that growth mindset people outperform those who have fixed mindset, both in academic and professional settings. I'm particularly interested in this because I want to see for myself whether it's all in my head. And by that I mean I should give things a go before giving up. And is it really just an excuse for me to be lazy and not pursue the hard thing? And what I'm learning about the growth mindset is that your brain isn't fixed. And by that I mean the brain has this ability to rewire itself, which really supports the idea that skills can be learned, skills can be developed. There are also evidence that show that intelligence and talent are not fixed, and that deliberate practice improves performance over time. And so there is a practical implication to this, that emphasizing effort over innate talent encourages lifelong improvement. So how does one with a growth mindset see challenges? Do we see challenges as obstacles that get in our way? Or are they like stepping stones, opportunities to grow, and not threats to self-worth? Growth mindset individuals persist through trials, persist through difficulties, while fixed mindset individuals give up. I'd actually phrase this more accurately this way, that by anybody giving up proves that you have a fixed mindset. And by you sometimes not giving up proves that you have a growth mindset. This means that you're not constrained in this one category. I find myself both in the same day, depending on which tasks I find difficult or too boring or too hard to go through or too challenging to do. And successful companies recruit those who have this growth mindset because they have challenge-seeking behaviors, which foster innovation. I work in a research center and have been there for over 10 years, and this place is just a sandbox for me. It allows me to play and explore, which really fosters innovation because you're left to overcome challenges and to think critically, think outside the box, which in turn have developed this perspective that I can take on most things, or at least I can attempt to, until I really can't. How do we see mistakes? If you have a growth mindset, you look at mistakes as errors, but not in a negative or positive sense. I've learned that errors are deviations from the correct path. And so by doing mistakes, you can learn from them. And that's an interesting word, mistake. That just means you can take it again. If you've mistaken something, you can just take it correctly the next time. It reminds me of this control graph where you might overshoot and then undershoot until you reach a steady flat line. That is what our brain can do, if you believe it. People who embrace mistakes show greater long-term improvement. I've learned this as a young kid. When I was maybe 4 or 5, I've started to show interest in singing. And so my parents would praise me and say, "Oh, you're a really good singer, and so you should compete in talent shows and belt your voice out in a karaoke or something." And what that has taught me then is that I have this innate talent, that I have it. I don't need to practice. I can just go on stage and be successful at it. I do think that's not the best of praise. If you're going to give praise to your kid, you praise the effort, and the continual improvement in that practice will make it better. It leads to better performance and persistence. There is this idea of grit, which is sustained effort over time. And it's also a better predictor of success than innate talent. And consistent effort builds expertise and confidence over time. One might define a successful person or an expert as someone who has failed enough times to learn from it. And so failure isn't the end, really. It's just another opportunity to be better and better. And so I'd consider myself an expert because I'd failed in that area way too many times that I know the intricacies and the idiosyncrasies of whatever that thing is, because I've spent time and effort and learning that I just understand what it is. For example, in software development or playing musical instruments, I just know the quirks and the nuances because I've been there and struggled for many hours myself. And so coming back to that scientific research on neuroplasticity, that your brain structure changes with learning. And learning occurs when it is pushed to its limit, when it's hard, when your head hurts by thinking too hard and too much, until you get it, which actually validates a growth mindset principle. This is what they call neuroplasticity. And so part of this conditioning of the brain on a daily basis, your daily habits, for instance, your mindfulness, your skill practice, your journaling, strengthen neural pathways. This is how you exercise the brain. I know it's not a muscle, but you can have a mental workout, if you like, by doing the hard thing. Similar to how you build your muscle. When you have this progressive overload, you can have a mental progressive overload as well. And it really debunks this myth that neuroplasticity of the brain doesn't persist into adulthood. It does. It may be a bit harder when your brain is already fully developed, but it can still adapt. And so that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, is not really accurate. I would say more like the old dog won't learn new tricks. And so this fixed intelligence is really a myth. Now, you can fulfill that prophecy if you adopt a fixed mindset. And so how do you respond to feedback and criticism? People might say and praise you for working hard. You work so hard. That was great effort applied. Well done. And those kind of feedback really outperforms praise like, oh, you're very smart, or you're just naturally intelligent. Those two types of feedback reinforces one or the other, a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Because if you believe that you already got it, you won't apply as much effort, and so you won't actually get better at that thing, even if you were naturally predisposed to be good at it. It's really 90% effort and maybe 10%. I would even say 95 to 5% effort over talent. And so companies and organizations that have this feedback-rich culture report higher adaptability and innovation. And having this growth mindset or a fixed mindset applies across domains. It applies across life, really. For example, students with growth mindset achieve better grades and better engagement. And it also improves mental health, as having a growth mindset reduces anxiety, because you're able to reframe challenges as being manageable as something that's insurmountable. And so how can I apply this to myself? It's one thing to understand about the two types of mindsets, but what can I do about it? You can start by shifting your perspective. Small steps. You can change the way you talk to yourself by replacing I can't with I can't yet. By shifting your perspective, you see the world totally differently. Instead of seeing obstacles, you're seeing stepping stones and milestones, and then before you know it, you've reached the summit of that mountain. You can look to role models. There are plenty of successful people that you can look up to emulate and follow, and you can observe their growth journeys, and so help you reduce self-doubt. And again, there are plenty of evidences for this. Studies show that people consistently underestimate their own potential. Before they can really prove and explore that they can, they've decided that they're not able for it, and so they don't even attempt, and so they again. And so fulfills that prophecy. Don't underestimate your potential. You can. Just give it a go until there's a definitive hard brick wall in front of you. Keep at it. develop that grit. There's that quote that I remember: hard times make hard people, and soft environments make soft people. Something like that. And again, this is not just a one and done thing. You never really arrive. People who have reached the top, there's always more to learn. The growth mindset individuals prioritizes skill development at all stages of life. Goals are never permanent. They're shifting, like shifting goalposts. New goals after milestones prevent complacency. And this is very important, and I've come to learn this, that valuing the learning process is very crucial. This is really the key in sustaining motivation. Don't just focus on the end goal, but focus on the journey. And over time, you will develop this resilience. You can bounce back from setbacks far quicker than before, and you become more persistent in life, which actually makes you more wise, because you've explored more avenues in life than some people who have not ventured out at all as much. You've acquired more knowledge, you understand people a bit better, you become more empathetic, and you become more stable and whole. And so you reframe failures as something that are temporary. And so you'd see this with entrepreneurs. People with growth mindset pivot faster after failures. They keep trying, keep persisting until they hit that success and they explode. And the last thing is this idea of comfort zones. I know we all have our comfort zone, but if we think of comfort zone as not really a safe zone, in that it's a place that if you venture out from, you'll be in the danger zone. No, you'll only be in the discomfort zone. And then you'll discover that by stepping outside your comfort zones will accelerate your skill acquisition and skill development. You can take calculated risks, and so you manage that fear because you're not truly in danger, you're just uncomfortable. And it'll only be hard for a time until you adapt to it and you get better. One of my favorite superheroes is Superman, and he has this ultimate villain, Doomsday, and he's genetically engineered to be constantly evolving to his surroundings, to the hard things that knocks him down. In a way, we're kind of like doomsday machines. We can actually adapt if we want to. And so what I'm doing now is to take small but consistent steps that help build my confidence over time, tackle larger challenges, and find, looking back, that I can overcome this and I can do this. What if I told you that I've improved my speech so much, and I used to stutter and I used to mumble a lot to the point of not understanding what I'm saying, but by deliberately improving at it, I've become clearer, at least clearer than what I was before. This has been useful to me to study and to read about and to listen to, and there are plenty of podcasts and books on the matter, but there's no better teacher than experience itself. You have to go and do it. Keep on improving, keep up the growth mindset, and I'll see you in the next one.